So Sean, there has to be a story about the door.
Well, there's a huge story.
Oh, there is?
Yes.
And you have it?
We do.
Oh,
we
good.
do, actually. This is actually a facsimile door. The original door is in the collection of Cedar Rapids Museum of Art to keep it out of the weather. But this is a very faithful copy of it. And this is a door that Grant Wood fashioned himself out of an old coffin lid.
Oh.
The studio was adjacent to a mortuary, and he actually was allowed to live here after helping the mansion transform itself into a funeral home. And so coffin lids were very readily available. And he chose one with a window in it because then he could articulate the window and let people know whether he was in or whether he was out, what time he would be back, whether he's taking a bath, as it says here, or having a party, so that people would know before they came in whether or not he was even home.
Yeah.
Because he lived here with his mother and his sister, and the three of them were here, and because they were so beloved by the city of Cedar Rapids, people would have no inhibition to just walking right on in to his studio and home. But he wanted to have a little level of separation there. And so he created this sort of answering machine, if you will, early form of answering machine, letting people know whether or not he was even at the studio at that time.
So back to a coffin lid.
Yes.
Can we go back there for just a second?
Yes.
Did some of them have windows?
Yes. Back in the day, some of the coffin lids had windows so you could see the deceased without having the coffin lid open. Because now sometimes you have, a viewing, and sometimes you don't now with a solid lid. But back in the day, there were some lids that had windows so you could see the deceased. Not all of them, but just their faces.
Right.
And so he chose one of those because he could play around with that window space.
Did a good job.
Yes, he did. No, I know none of them are original, but these are all works that he created while he was in the studio. Woman with Plants is the portrait of his mother.
That's his mom.
That's the one that he did in 1929. It feels very much like it kind of comes out of that Northern Renaissance tradition. Here you've got a figure, half length, in front of a landscape, holding an attribute, in this case the Sansevieria plant. Which reappears. It's something that his mom actually had. She was obviously a ready model because she lived right here. And he uses that Sansevieria, and it appears again in American Gothic back there. And you'll see it in a number of other works as well. And one of the things that Grant Wood did love to do was paint on particle board. What we would call masonite is a brand name, but there are many different kinds of particle board at the time, and he loved painting them because he loved that surface. So these have been reproduced on masonite panels because that was how he painted them. He didn't. Painting oil on canvas was expensive.
Yeah.
Particle board was much cheaper.
Did he always work in oil?
Yes. He did do. We have a few watercolors, and we have some drawings, but he was primarily an oil painter. He takes that new style with the firmer edges and harder lines, and he applies it to landscape in a piece such as Young Corn that you see here, which is on view at the original is on view at the Museum of Art. He has the same sort of wonderful play of moving you through the composition, just like we saw in American Gothic, but he kind of really just sort of moves your eye back into space. I mean, he helps to create this illusion of space, but kind of moving you through it. But it's just a picture of people working the farm by hand, somewhat nostalgic, but it's also a very, very hopeful work. In 1931, we're in the depths of the Depression. It's not a cheery time, right? But messages that you would get from a painting like this would be, through hard work and perseverance, we'll get through this. Here is where his easel was. This is not his easel. This is a modern reproduction, but this is basically where he always had it. He had good light, especially from the lantern up above. I should mention also that window did not exist originally. It was closed off, but he punched through because he wanted some of the western light. So he punched through and he put a little desk there for when he began lecturing.
Nice.
Over here you see that there's a telephone stand, but it's on two levels because one of them liked to stand when they talked and the other one liked to sit. Yeah. So he created that. Eventually radiator heat was placed in, and so this became box seating, which would be warmed in the wintertime because of the radiator heat. After the fire in 1932, which was in this storage area over here, Grant Wood pushed out the walls and created a room for his mom so that she'd have some privacy. So it's been heavily modified by subsequent tenants, but this was her space, and then there was a metal flap that could be put up and held in place by these toggles so she could have some privacy, and the radiator that exists here would heat both rooms.
Great.
Yeah, brilliant. And over here in the bathroom, you will see that he made use of every space. The slope, all of the drawers and doors are tucked in. And you see that the bathtub is sunken. That's because one of them liked to take baths, the other one liked to take showers, and the only way to make that work with a sloping ceiling was to drop it down. That wasn't a problem because that's the hole where they would drop down the hay for the horses originally. So there was and the original ladder to get up was right there. So he built these stairs here, these steep stairs that you had coming in, and he changed that hole in the ground or in the floor to a sunken tub.
How great that you have all of this still.
We are thrilled. We are thrilled that subsequent tenants didn't alter the place too much.
Yeah.
There have been some altering certainly, but not too much. So the kitchen has had a lot of altering. Someone had put in a stove. There was no stove in their time. They cooked on a hot plate, and they had an ice box, which was here. You can see when you push the ice box in, it goes into the bathroom. So you have to share that space somehow. But all of these wonderful built-ins were just filled with their dishes. It was sort of open, open cabinetry, if you will. The skylights that you see both in the bathroom and in the kitchen, he put in himself.
He did.
As to give more light or some light into both of those rooms. But our hope is in the next phase to really restore all of this interior space here to make it even more like it was when Grant Wood lived here.